Real estate, and more specifically real estate investing, over the last century has been one of the best go-to ways of creating wealth. And over the past couple decades specifically, there's been quite a few different variations of how to invest in real estate and different levels to it, from beginner all the way to expert. But for the next 20 years, the real estate market is not going to look anywhere like it has in the past. So what real estate strategies will show through the test of time and continue to be some of the strongest ways to protect and grow your wealth? Let's get into the 7 real estate investment strategies that you can utilize here in Delaware. Number 1 is tried and true, the buy and hold method. This is the accumulation of rental properties, or other words heard of creating a portfolio of homes that you buy with the intention of renting out for a higher amount than whatever your mortgage on it is. So for example, if you were to find a property that's worth $250,000 and you went out and got an $1,800 mortgage on it, and you knew you could rent it out for say $2,050 per month, well, that's a $250 surplus. And on top of that, they're also paying your mortgage. So this is a tried and true method that you hold for a long period of time as the landlord and property manager. You can get a real estate agent involved to help, to create wealth for yourself over time as the property gains equity, and you more than likely have a slight surplus between the mortgage and what you're actually getting in rent every single month. And for each of these investment strategies, I'm also going to throw on the 302 badge for the Delaware specific advice. And in this case, for buy and holds, look toward places like Newark and look toward places like Dover and Milford for 3 different reasons. One, in Milford, we have medical facilities that are, absolutely exploding in growth, and they're going to grow over time. That's a great place to be, as well as people moving up from Lewis and the beaches as they run out of places to build. Number 2, with Dover, you have the Air Force Base, and number 3, University of Delaware up in Newark is another great one, a consistent cycle of tenants. Number 2, also tried and true, it's the HGTV special. It's the flip, the fix and flip, the reno, whatever you want to call it, is taking a property that is currently in need of repair. It is in a state of disrepair. It's moldy, it's icky, it's falling apart, it needs everything cosmetically and probably a lot structurally. This is a property no one wants to or is able to live in at this moment. Now, the strategy here is to find somebody that's in a scenario where either A, they want rid of the property because it's in disrepair and they just can't take care of it anymore, and they're willing to have you come in and basically get a discount for being able to take care of their problem and get it off their hands, and then being able to flip it by selling it for a higher amount than what it costs you to actually get it repaired. Because of course, if you buy something for $100,000 and then you put $50,000 into it, and let's say you have $20,000 in total closing costs between the buying of the property and the sale of the property, well, you may do that math and find you do or you don't make the amount of profit that you actually want off this deal to make it worth your while. And that's what investors are doing consistently when they're analyzing properties for flipping. And the Delaware specific advice for 302, throw on the 302 badge for this one, is that we have a lot of areas that are going to, and I'm telling you right now, that are going to have this affordability in this current market become an issue. And that is going to be an opportunity for investors to come along and help these people and get them where they need to go, which is somewhere else. Their property's falling apart. Maybe they can't take care of it anymore. The landscaping is overgrown. Whatever it is that is just straining them financially is keeping them from being able to take care of this property, instead of letting it just corrode and fall apart and not get taken care of and eventually foreclose and go back to a bank. You get to step in and say, hey, I'm going to be able to take care of what you owe on the property. I'm going to be able to pay back these back taxes or these liens you owe on it, the loan you have against your home. I'm going to be protecting you from foreclosure, possibly bankruptcy, and revitalize that property and bring it to market in a market that needs inventory for buyers that are already spreading themselves thin in buyer power to get into a property. So it's all good things. Don't let anyone diminish you for being an investor or thinking it's bad. The fix and flip is an amazing opportunity, and one Delaware needs more of, especially in the coming years. Number 3, super Delaware focused on this one, but for anybody out there looking to invest, vacation rentals are popular. Having a secondary property is very common. Using that secondary property as a rental is even more common, and having it in an area that is desirable is just, when you bring all 3 together, it's beautiful. And Delaware specifically, we'll go ahead and throw on the 302 badge, has the beaches. And for vacation rentals, what could be better than having the white sand and the water? Okay, it's not quite white. It's like a tan. We bring it in. It's nice. But either way, from Cape Henlopen all the way down through, you can get to Ocean City from the same route. We kind of claim it. But either way, Bethany Beach, Lewis Beach, Dewey, all the beautiful places we have with the nice sand and the beautiful water, the boardwalks, are all desirable areas where vacationers want to be near. And so having an Airbnb, a Vrbo, or just a vacation property that you occasionally visit yourself or hand off to a friend or family member, super common way to generate passive income. And Delaware, again, specifically for tax purposes, one of the best places to have a vacation rental because you have a very low lodging fee, and the long-term taxes and LLC corporation openings are so cheap you won't even notice them. Number 4, this is the absolute easiest one to get into. It's called house hacking, and I'll tell you what it is. You're in a market where it's tough to buy a property, the affordability is tight, and you have a pre-approval that's gonna get you into a property, but it's gonna still be tough to make that monthly payment every single month. So what you're gonna do is this. You're going to take out a roommate, if not 2 roommates, and buy yourself a property and have them in it to help pay that mortgage. You can sometimes have it go even over the mortgage, and there's a profit there. At the very least, they can help pay the mortgage, if not all of it. The other level to house hacking is if you can find a multifamily property, a duplex, where you can live on one side and rent the other. This way you don't even have to have a roommate. You can go a level deeper to that, have the person living on the other side, and have a roommate on your side. Regardless, house hacking is one of the best ways to get into investing because you can stay in that property 2-3 years, really knock down the capital that you owe on it, and then keep it, rent out both sides, and then get into another property and continue that process. It's a great way to jump in. There's lots of multifamilies that are located for 302 specifically, throw on the badge, Dover and the Newark area, again, for the same reasons. We have DSU and University of Delaware up there, and also medical facilities in the area, the Dover Air Force Base locally in Dover. There's a lot of opportunity for getting into something that could be a multifamily that you house hack. Number 5, I'm not going to spend a ton of time on because it's very niche, but it's commercial real estate investing. If you are looking into being the property manager or overseeing a strip mall, if you're looking to oversee something that has any type of business type or commercial financing, you are looking into commercial real estate investing. Now, the benefits that go with commercial real estate are usually you're dealing with someone who has a little bit more financial capability than potentially a tenant in a residential property. You could potentially be charging a higher amount of rent because there's more square footage to rent. For example, if you were renting out to Food Lion, a giant space for a grocery store, you'd make a lot more per month than per se if you were renting out a single family home. The other benefits that come with commercial real estate investing, and specifically here in Delaware with the 302 badge, you're going to see that the LLC formation and income tax benefits that come with just simply running a business in Delaware are so good that you have more businesses that are actively opening and small businesses that can afford to operate and can take a larger hit on the rental prices. So properties around here in Delaware and in a lot of areas are tough to come by in the good, well-trafficked areas. So if you're looking into a form of real estate investing that could potentially help stimulate the local economies, build up local downtown areas, as well as maybe have a higher cap on what you could make per month as the investor, commercial real estate investing may be something you want to work to look into. Number 6 is wholesaling. If you've heard about wholesaling from some seminar or a video and you already got a negative taste in your mouth, get the negative taste out. Let me tell you exactly what it is. Wholesaling, put basically, is when somebody's creating a product, they're building it, the factory, the industrial side is actually putting the product together. Somebody has to house the item. So normally a wholesaler will take on these items at bulk, at scale, and house them. And then they sell them back at scale, usually slightly lower scales, to the distributors or the retailers that are going to physically actually sell the product. The retailers don't want to hold the amount that the factories are creating, so the wholesaler in the middle solves the problem. That same definition is given to people who are transacting in the middle and brokering a transaction that pretty much don't have a real estate license. Let me go deeper. Say you knew somebody who's going through death, divorce, maybe they got willed a property they don't even want, and they simply want to have someone buy it because it's not in a condition to be lived in, it's not mortgageable, and there's nothing really to do with it. Do I sell this thing? What do I do? Do I call a realtor? And maybe you as the investor can step in and say, hey, I don't have the money to be able to take on this property right now, but what I do have is a gigantic list of connections. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to put this property under contract. Let's go ahead and agree it's 140 grand, because if we fixed it up, it'd be maybe worth 265 grand. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this contract to all my friends. I'm going to bring them through. I'm going to pitch them, blah, 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 whatever it may be. And then if they want to buy it, I'm going to sell it to them for a higher price, and I'm going to net the difference. So if I get someone who wants to buy it for 155, I'm going to net the 15 grand in the middle. And that's how a wholesaler makes money. That is an awesome way to get involved in the game to help bridge the gap between a very niche seller and a very niche buyer. If you can connect the two, you're of value and you deserve to be paid in the middle. Now, the Delaware version of this is doing something called driving for dollars. And you can do this anywhere, but Delaware specifically, we have so many homes per amount of dirt that we have that we're actually one of the most crowded states in the entire country per capita. So what that means for you is there's more homes to potentially drive by in less time. Plus, we don't have a lot of traffic in a lot of areas, especially if you're not near the beaches during the summer. So you have a lot of opportunity to drive multiple areas that's all close to one another to find the properties that may be in need of your service. Look for things like the mailbox is overfilled, the landscaping is overgrown, the property just overall doesn't look like it's been taken care of. Those are the ones you can walk up, knock, hey, and then give your pitch. I'm not going to sit here and train you, but that's an awesome way you could potentially get into wholesale. The number 7 is one of the best ones to get into the game. It's called the BRRRR Method. So BRRRR stands for buy, repair or rehab, rent, refinance, repeat. And so going through each of those, you find a property that is in need of a flipping. It needs a rehab. It needs to be brought back to life, but maybe it doesn't need that much. All right. Maybe there's not a ton that it needs. So it just needs a light rehab, $20,000, $30,000. And then you could get a renter into that property who's paying more than what your mortgage currently is. Now you get to refinance the property. Now, let's say you did this right and you did the math properly and you got a property that once you put that 30 grand into it, well, now it's worth 50 or 60 grand more. So you could now refi, get money out of that refi. And I hope I'm not getting too complicated here, but when you refinance that house, you're able to refinance that house at the value it currently sits at. If you bought it here and you refinance it at a value here, well, there's a gap in the middle, and you can only refinance up to 85% usually of what the home now is worth. But if you did your math well, you may still have $10,000, $15,000 to take out. Plus, you have someone in there paying rent, which is covering your mortgage, and you get to keep the house. It's like flipping and renting at the same time. But let me take the 302 badge and toss it away on this one, because right now, as we sit in this market with 8%, as we sit at the end of October into November, you're probably watching this in December, we're looking at a market that is not really suited for the BRRRR method, because you want to be able to get somebody in there where you can easily refinance and cover that mortgage. But if you bring the home's value up over a period of time and then you refinance, well, geez, you're only going to be taking on a much larger load on the monthly payment. It's going to be very difficult in most areas, especially in Delaware, to be able to get someone who would rent at the rate you would need them to rent at to cover your new mortgage. So I wouldn't suggest the BRRRR method right now. Typically below 5.5% is where it starts to make sense here in Delaware. I don't know where it might make sense for you, but I would talk to your local realtor like myself here in Delaware if you were looking to invest in Delaware, and contacting your local trusted agent in your area if you were looking to invest. My name's Zachary Faust with Loft Realty. Love that we got to chat about investing today, and stick around, subscribe to the channel, like the video if you're still here, hit the bell to see when we post next, and I'll see you next time here on the Loft Realty channel.